Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
November 8th, 2025. And on page 16 of your complete Jewish Bible, you will find Parashah 4, which begins with Genesis 18:1. Adonai appeared to Abraham by the oaks of Mamre as he sat at the entrance of the tent during the heat of the day. He raised his eyes and looked, and there in front of him stood three men. On seeing them, he ran from the tent door to meet them, prostrated himself on the ground, and said, "My Lord, if I found favor in your sight, please don't leave your servant. Please let me send for some water so you can wash your feet, then rest under the tree, and I will bring a piece of bread. Now that you have come to your servant, refresh yourselves before going on." "Very well," they replied, "do what you have said."
Abraham hurried into the tent to Sarah and said, "Quickly, 3 measures of the best flour, knead it and make cakes." And Abraham ran to the herd, took a good tender calf and gave it to the servant, who hurried to prepare it. Then he took curds, milk, and the calf which he had prepared, and set it all before the men. And he stood by them under the tree as they ate. They said to him, "Where is Sarah, your wife?" And he said, "There in the tent." He said, "I will certainly return to you around this time next year, and Sarah, your wife, will have a son." Sarah heard this from the entrance of the tent behind him. Abraham and Sarah were old, advanced in years, and Sarah was past the age of childbearing. So Sarah laughed to herself, thinking, "I am old, and so is my Lord. I am to have pleasure again?" Adonai said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh and ask, Am I really going to bear a child when I'm so old? Is anything too hard for Adonai? At the time set for it, at this season next year, I will return to you, and Sarah will have a son." Sarah denied it, saying, "I didn't either laugh," because she was afraid. He said, "No, not so. You did laugh."
The men set out from there and looked over towards Sodom, and Abraham went with them to see them on their way. Adonai said, "Should I hide from Abraham what I'm about to do? Inasmuch as Abraham is sure to become a great and strong nation, all the nations of the earth will be blessed by him. For I have made myself known to him, so that he will give orders to his children and to his household after him, to keep the way of Adonai and do what is right and just, so that Adonai may bring about for Abraham what he has promised him."
Adonai said, "The outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is so great that their sin so serious that I will now go down and see whether their deeds warrant the outcry that has reached me. If not, I will know." The men turned away from there and went toward Sodom, but Abraham remained standing before Adonai. Adonai approached and said, "Will you actually sweep away the righteous with the wicked? Maybe there are 50 righteous people in the city. Will you actually sweep the place away and not forgive it for the sake of 50 righteous who are there? Far from it, you to do such a thing, to kill the righteous along with the wicked, so that the righteous and the wicked are treated alike? Far from it. Far be it from you. Shouldn't the judge of all the earth do what is just?" And then Adonai said, "If I find in Sodom 50 who are righteous, then I will forgive the whole place for their sake."
Abraham answered, "Hear now, I, who am but dust and ashes, have taken it upon myself to speak to Adonai. What if there are 5 less than 50 righteous?" He said, "I won't destroy it if I find 45 there."
He spoke to him again. What if 40 are found there? And he said, for the sake of the 40, I won't do it.
He said, I hope Adonai won't be angry if I speak. What if 30 are found there? He said, I won't do it if I find 30 there.
He said, here now, I have taken it upon myself to speak to Adonai. What if 20 are found there? And he said, for the sake of the 20, I won't destroy it.
He said, I hope Adonai won't be angry if I speak just once more. What if 10 are found there? He said, for the sake of 10, I won't destroy it. Adonai went on his way as soon as he had finished speaking to Abraham, and Abraham returned to his place.
The two angels came to Sodom that evening when Lot was sitting at the gate of Sodom. Lot saw them, got up to greet them, and prostrated himself on the ground, and he said, here now, my lords, please come over to your servant's house. Spend the night, wash your feet, get up early, and go on your way. No, they answered, we'll stay in the square. But he kept pressing them, so they went home with him, and he made them a meal, baking matzah for their supper, which they ate.
But before they could go to bed, the men of the city surrounded the house, young and old, everyone from every neighborhood of Sodom. They called Lot and said to him, where are the men who came to stay with you tonight? Bring them out to us. We won't have sex with them. Lot went out to them and stood in the doorway, closing the door behind him, and said, please, my brothers, don't do such a wicked thing. Look here, I have 2 daughters who are virgins. Please, let me bring them out to you, and you can do with them what seems good to you. But don't do anything to these men, since they are guests in my house. Stand back, they replied. This guy came to live here, and now he's decided to play judge. For that will deal worse with you than with them. Then they crowded in on Lot in order to get close enough to break down the door. But the men inside reached out their hands, brought Lot into the house to them, and shut the door. Then they struck the men at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they couldn't find the doorway.
The men said to Lot, do you have any people here besides yourself? Whomever you have in the city, son-in-law, your sons, your daughters, bring them out of this place, because we're going to destroy it. Adonai has become aware of the great outcry against them, and Adonai has sent us to destroy it. Lot went out and spoke with his sons-in-law, who had married his daughters, and said, get up and leave this place, because Adonai is going to destroy the city. But the sons-in-law didn't take him seriously.
When morning came, the angels told Lot to hurry. Get up, they said. Take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here. Otherwise you will be swept away on the punishment of the city. But he dallied. So the men took hold of his hand, his wife's hand, and the hands of his 2 daughters. Adonai was being merciful to him, and leaving them outside the city. When they had brought them out, he said, flee for your life. Don't look behind you. Don't stop anywhere in the plain, but escape to the hills. Otherwise you will be swept away. Lot said to them, please, no, my lord. Here, your servant has already found favor in your sight, and you have shown me even greater mercy by saving my life. But I can't escape to the hills, because I'm afraid the disaster will overtake me and I will die. Look, there's a town nearby to flee to, and it's a small one. Please, let me escape there. Isn't it just a small one? And that way I will stay alive.
He replied, all right, I agree to what you have asked. I won't overthrow the city of which you have spoken. Hurry and escape to that place, because I can't do anything until you arrive there. For this reason, the city was named Zor, which means small.
By the time Lot came to Zoar, the sun had risen over the land. Then Adonai caused sulfur and fire to rain upon Sodom and Gomorrah from Adonai out of the sky. He overthrew those cities, the entire plain, all the inhabitants of the cities, and everything growing in the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a column of salt.
Abraham got up early in the morning and went to the place where he had stood before Adonai, and looked out toward Sodom and Gomorrah, scanning the entire plain. There before him the smoke was rising from the land like smoke from a furnace. But when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he remembered Abraham and sent Lot out, away from the destruction, when he overthrew the cities in which Lot lived.
Lot went up from Zoar and lived in the hills with his 2 daughters, because he was afraid to stay in Zoar. He and his 2 daughters lived in a cave. The firstborn said to the younger, "Our father is old, and there is no man on earth to come into us in the manner customary in the world. Come, let's have our father drink wine, then we'll sleep with him, and that way we'll enable our father to have descendants."
So they plied their father with wine that night, and the older one went in and slept with her father. He didn't know when she lay down or when she got up. The following day the older said to the younger, "Here, I slept last night with my father. Let's make him drink wine again tonight, and you go in and sleep with him, and that way we'll enable our father to have descendants." They plied their father with wine that night also, and the younger one got up and slept with him, and he didn't know when she lay down or when she got up. Thus both the daughters of Lot became pregnant by their father.
The older one gave birth to a son and called him Moab. He is the ancestor of Moab to this day. The younger also gave birth to a son, and she called him Ben-Ami. He's the ancestor of the people of Ammon to this day.
Abraham traveled from there toward the Negev and lived between Kadesh and Shur. While living as an alien in the Gerar, Abraham was saying of Sarah, his wife, "She's my sister." So Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. But God came to Abimelech in a dream one night and said to him, "You're about to die because of the woman you have taken, since she is someone's wife." Now Abimelech had not come near her, so he said, "Lord, will you kill even an upright nation? Didn't he himself say to me, 'She's my sister'? And even she herself said, 'He's my brother.' In doing this, my heart has been pure and my hands innocent." So God said to him in a dream, "Yes, I know that in doing this, your heart has been pure. But I too have kept you from sinning against me. This is why I didn't let you touch her. Therefore return the man's wife to him now. He's a prophet, and he will pray for you, so that you will live. But if you don't return her, know that you will certainly die, you and all who belong to you."
Abimelech got up early in the morning, called all his servants, and told them these things. And the men became very afraid. Then Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, "What have you done to us? How have I sinned against you to cause you to bring on me and my kingdom a great sin? You have done things to me that are just not done." Abimelech went on, asking Abraham, "Whatever could have caused you to do such a thing?" Abraham replied, "It was because I thought there could not possibly be any fear of God in this place, so they will kill me in order to get my wife. But she actually is also my sister, the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, so she became my wife." When God had me leave my father's house, I told her, do me this favor. Wherever we go, say about me, he is my brother.
Abimelech took sheep, cattle, male and female slaves, and gave them to Abraham. And he returned to him Sarah, his wife. Then Abimelech said, look, my country lies before you. Live where you like. To Sarah he said, here I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. That will allay the suspicion of everyone who is with you. Before anyone you are cleared. Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech and his wife and slave girls, so that they could have children. For Adonai had made every woman of Abimelech's household infertile on account of Sarah, Abraham's wife.
Adonai remembered Sarah, as he said, and Adonai did for Sarah what he had promised. Sarah conceived and bore Abraham a son in his old age, at the very time God had said to him. Abraham called his son, born to him, whom Sarah bore to him, Isaac. Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old, as God had ordered him to do.
Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac, which means laughter, was born to him. And Sarah said, God has given me good reason to laugh. Now everyone who hears about it will laugh with me. And she said, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? Nevertheless, I've borne him a son in his old age.
The child grew and was weaned, and Abraham gave a great banquet on the day that Isaac was weaned. But Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, whom Hagar had borne to Abraham, making fun of Isaac. So Sarah said to Abraham, throw this slave girl out and her son. I will not have this slave girl's son as your heir, along with my son Isaac.
Abraham became very distressed over this matter of his son. But God said to Abraham, don't be distressed because of the boy and your slave girl. Listen to everything Sarah says to you, because it is your descendants through Isaac who will be counted. But I will also make a nation from the son of the slave girl, since he is descended from you.
Abraham got up early in the morning, took bread and a skin of water, and gave it to Hagar, putting it on her shoulder and the child. Then he sent her away. After leaving, she wandered in the desert around Beersheba. When the water in the skin was gone, she left the child under a bush and went and sat down, looking the other way, about a bow shot's distance from him, because she said, I can't bear to watch my child die. So she sat there, looking the other way, crying out and weeping. God heard the boy's voice, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, what's wrong with you, Hagar? Don't be afraid, because God has heard the voice of the boy in his present situation. Get up, lift the boy up, and hold him tightly in your hand, because I'm going to make him a great nation. Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. So she went, filled the skin with water, and gave the boy water to drink.
God was with the boy, and he grew. He lived in the desert and became an archer. He lived in the Paran desert, and his mother chose a wife for him from the land of Egypt.
At that time, Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, spoke to Abraham. They said, God is with you in everything you do. Therefore, swear to me here by God that you will never deal falsely with me or with my son or grandson, but according to the kindness with which I have treated you. You will treat me in the land in which you have lived as a foreigner. Abraham said, I swear it.
Now Abraham had complained to Abimelech about a well which Abimelech's servants had seized. Abimelech answered, I don't know who has done this. You didn't tell me, and I heard about it only today. Abraham took sheep and cattle and gave them to Abimelech, and the two of them made a covenant. Abraham put 7 female lambs from the flock by themselves. Abimelech asked Abraham, What is the meaning of these 7 female lambs you have put by themselves? He answered, You are to accept these 7 female lambs from me as witness that I dug this well, because they both swore an oath there. When they made the covenant at Beersheba, Abimelech departed with Pichol, the commander of his army, and returned to the land of the Philistine. Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba. There he called on the name of Adonai, the everlasting God. And Abraham lived for a long time as a foreigner in the land of the Philistines.
After these things, God tested Abraham. He said to him, Abraham. And he answered, Here I am. He said, Take your son, your only son whom you love, Isaac, and go to the land of Moriah. There you are to offer him as a burnt offering on a mountain that I will point out to you.
Abraham got up early in the morning, saddled his donkey, and took 2 of his young men with him, together with Isaac, his son. He cut the wood for a burnt offering, departed, and went toward the place God had told him about. On the 3rd day, Abraham raised his eyes and saw the place in the distance. And Abraham said to his young men, Stay here with the donkey. I and the boy will go there, worship, and return to you. Abraham took the wood from the burnt offering and laid it on Isaac his son. Then he took in his hand a fire and the knife, and they both went on together.
Isaac spoke to Abraham his father. My father, he answered. Here I am, son. He said, I see the fire and the wood, but where's the lamb for a burnt offering? Abraham replied, God will provide himself the lamb for a burnt offering, my son. And they both went on together.
They came to the place God had told him about, and Abraham built an altar there, set the wood in order, bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar, on the wood. Then Abraham put out his hand and took the knife to kill his son.
But the angel of Adonai called to him out of heaven, Abraham, Abraham. He answered, Here I am. He said, Don't lay a hand on the boy. Don't do anything to him. For now I know that you are a man who fears God, because you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me. Abraham raised his eyes and looked, and there behind him was a ram caught in the bushes by its horns. Abraham went and took the ram and offered it up as a burnt offering in place of his son. Abraham went, called the place Adonai Ye'ir. Adonai will see. Adonai provides. As it is said to this day, on the mountain, Adonai is seen.
The angel of Adonai called to Abraham a second time out of heaven. He said, I have sworn by myself, says Adonai, that because you have done this, because you haven't withheld your son, your only son, I will most certainly bless you, and I will most certainly increase your descendants to as many as there are stars in the sky or grains of sand on the seashore. Your descendants will possess the cities of their enemies, and by your descendants all the nations of the earth will be blessed, because you obeyed my order.
So Abraham returned to his young men. They got up and went together to Beersheba, and Abraham settled in Beersheba.
Afterwards Abraham was told, Milcah too has borne children to your brother Nachor. Utz, his firstborn, Buz, his brother, Kemuel, the father of Aram, Kesed, Hatzol, Pildash, Yitlaph and Budalel. Budalel fathered Ribkah. These 8 Milcah bore to Nachor, Abraham's brother. His concubine, whose name was Remulah, bore children also, Tebach, Gashchem, Tashak, and Manach.
If you please turn to page 403, we'll read 2 Kings 4, 1 through 37. The wife of one of the guild prophets complained to Elijah. Your servant, my husband, died, she said, and you know that he feared Adonai. Now a creditor has come to take my 2 children as his slaves. Elijah asked her, what should I do for you? Tell me, what do you have in the house? She answered, your servant has nothing in the house but a flask of oil. Then he said, go and borrow containers from all your neighbors, empty containers, and don't borrow just a few. Then go in, shut the door with you, and your sons inside, and pour oil into all those containers. And as they are filled, put them aside. So she left him and shut the door on herself and her sons. They brought her the containers while she poured. When the containers were full, she said to her son, bring me another container. But he answered, there isn't another container. Then the oil stopped flowing. She came and told the man of God, and he said, go, sell the oil and pay your debt. Then you and your sons can live on what's left.
One day Elijah visited Shunem, and a well-to-do woman living there pressed him to stay and eat a meal. After this, whenever he came through, he stopped there for a meal. She said to her husband, I can see that this is a holy man of God who keeps stopping at our place. Please, let's build him a little room on the roof, and we'll put a bed and a table in it for him, and a stool and a candlestick. Then, whenever he comes to visit, he can stay here.
One day Elijah came to visit there, and he went into the upper room to lie down. He said to Gehazi, his servant, call this Shunammite. He called her, and when she arrived, he said to him, tell her this, you have shown us so much hospitality. What can I do to show my appreciation? Do you want me to say anything to the king for you, or to the commander of the army? She answered, I'm happy, living as I do among my own people. He said, what then is to be done for her? Gehazi answered, there's one thing. She doesn't have a son, and her husband is old. Elijah said, call her. After he called her, she stood in the doorway. He said, next year, when the season comes around, you'll be holding a son. No, my lord, she answered. Man of God, don't lie to your servant. But the woman conceived and gave birth to a son the following year, when the season came around, just as Elijah had said to her.
When the child was old enough, he went out one day to be with his father, who was with the reapers. Suddenly he cried out to his father, my head, my head, my head hurts. He said to his servant, carry him back to his mother. When he had taken him and brought him to his mother, he lay on her lap until noon, and then he died. She went up and laid him on the bed of the man of God, shut the door on him, and went out. She called to her husband and said, please send me one of the servants with a donkey. I must go to the man of God as fast as I can. I'll come straight back. He asked, why are you going to him today? It is Rosh Chodesh. It isn't Shabbat, she said. It's all right. Then she saddled the donkey and ordered the servant, drive as fast as you can Don't slow down for me unless I say so.
She set out and came to the man of God on Mount Carmel. When the man of God saw her in the distance, he said to Gehazi, his servant, "Look, here comes the Shunammite. Run now and meet her and ask her, 'Is everything all right with you, with your husband, with the child?' She answered, 'Everything is all right.' But when she reached the man of God on the hill, she grabbed his feet. Gehazi came up to push her away, but the man of God said, 'Leave her alone. She is in great distress. But Adonai has hidden from me what it is. He hasn't told me.' Then she said, 'Did I ask my Lord for a son? Didn't I say not to deceive me?' Then Elijah said to Gehazi, 'Get dressed for action. Take my staff in your hand and be on your way. If you meet anyone, don't greet him. If anyone greets you, don't answer. And lay my staff on the child's face.' The mother of the child said, 'As Adonai lives and as you live, I will not leave you.' He got up and followed her. Gehazi went on ahead of them and laid the staff on the child's face. But there was no sound or sign of life. So he went back to Elijah and told him. The son didn't wake up.
When Elijah reached the house, there the child was, dead, and laid on the bed. He went in, shut the door on the two of them, and prayed to Adonai. Then he got up on the bed and lay on top of the child, putting his mouth on his mouth, his eyes on his eyes, and his hands on his hands. As he stretched himself out on the child, its flesh began to grow warm. Then he went down, walked around in the house a while, went back up and stretched himself out on the child again, and the child sneezed 7 times. Then opened his eyes. Elijah called Gehazi and said, 'Call the Shunammite.' So he called her, and when she came to him, he said, 'Pick up your son.' She entered, fell at his feet, and prostrated herself on the floor. Then she picked up her son and went out.
And if you please turn to page 1455, we'll read Galatians 4:1 through 5:6. What I'm saying, that as long as the heir is a minor, he is no different from a slave, even though he is the legal owner of the estate. Rather, he's subject to guardians and caretakers until the time previously set by his father. So it is with us. When we were children, we were slaves to the elemental spirits of the universe. But when the appointed time arrived, God sent forth his Son. He was born from a woman, born into a culture in which legalistic perversion of the Torah was the norm, so that he might redeem those in subjection to this legalism and thus enable us to be made God's sons. Now, because you are sons, God has sent forth into our hearts the Spirit of his Son, the Spirit who cries out, Abba, that is, dear Father. So through God, you are no longer a slave, but a son. And if you are a son, you are also an heir.
In the past, when you did not know God, you served as slave beings, which in reality are non-gods. But now you know God, and more than that, you are known by God. So how is it that you turn back again to those weak and miserable elemental spirits? Do you want to enslave yourselves to them once more? You observe special days, months, seasons, and years. I fear for you that my work among you has been wasted.
Brothers, I beg of you, put yourselves in my place. After all, I put myself in your place. It isn't that you have done me any wrong. You know that it was because I was ill that I proclaimed the good news to you at first. And even though my physical condition must have tempted you to treat me with scorn, you did not display any sign of disdain, or disgust. No, you welcomed me as if I'd been an angel of God, as if I'd been the Messiah Yeshua himself. So what has become of the joy you felt? For I bear you witness that had it been possible, you would have gouged out your eyes and given them to me. Have I now become your enemy because I tell you the truth? True, these teachers are zealous for you, but their motives are not good. They want to separate you from us so that you will become zealous for them. To be zealous is good, provided always that the cause is good. Indeed, whether I'm present with you or not, my dear children, I am suffering the pains of giving birth to you all over again. And this will go on until the Messiah takes shape in you. I wish I could be present with you now and change my tone of voice. I don't know what to do with you.
Tell me, you who want to be in subjection to the system that results from perverting the Torah into legalism, don't you hear what the Torah itself says? It says that Abraham had two sons, one by the slave woman and one by the free woman. The one by the slave woman was born according to the limited capabilities of human beings, but the one by the free woman was born through the miracle working power of God, fulfilling his promise. Now, to make a midrash on these things, the two women are two covenants. One is from Mount Sinai and bears children for slavery. This is Hagar. Hagar is Mount Sinai in Arabia. She corresponds to the present Jerusalem, for she serves as a slave along with her children. But the Jerusalem above is free, and she is our mother. For the Tanakh says, "Rejoice, you barren women, who does not bear children. Break forth and shout, you who are not in labor. For the deserted wife will have more children than the one whose husband is with her. You brothers, like Isaac, are children referred to in the promise of God. But just as then, the one born according to limited human capacity persecuted the one born from the Spirit's supernatural power, so it is now. Yes, so it is now. Nevertheless, what does the Tanakh say? Get rid of the slave woman and her son, for by no means will the son of the slave woman inherit along with the son of the free woman. So, brothers, we are children not of the slave woman, but of the free woman."
What the Messiah has freed us for is freedom. Therefore, stand firm and don't let yourselves be tied up again to a yoke of slavery. Mark my words. I, Shaul, tell you that if you undergo Brit Milah, the Messiah will be of no advantage to you